Before we begin, if you value understanding the systems that quietly shape your life, take a moment to subscribe. We explore these stories every week, calmly, clearly, without noise. In 2026, something extraordinary will happen. Something most people are not ready for. Not a crash, not a recession, not a crisis we've seen before. A structural break in the global financial order. You can already feel the pressure building. Debt at record highs. Currencies weakening. Interest rates stuck at levels entire nations cannot afford. AI systems manipulating markets faster than humans can react. And geopolitical stress pushing the world toward a new economic map. But here's the part no one wants to say out loud. The old financial system is no longer stable. For decades, the global economy has rested on a simple promise that governments will always pay their debts, that currencies will always hold their value, and that the system will always self-correct. Not anymore. In 2026, we enter a new phase, a world where inflation doesn't behave, where central banks lose control, where AI creates volatility faster than regulators can understand, and where nations quietly prepare for a financial reset. And in the middle of all this, something else becomes painfully obvious. No one is coming to save you. That's why I'm doing something most people never consider. I'm building my own financial system. Not a bank, not a crypto project, a personal economic structure, designed to survive the world that's coming. Because the rules are changing, safety looks different, wealth behaves differently. And the people who cling to the old model will be the first to feel the shock. In the next few minutes, I'll show you why 2026 forces individuals to think like nations, to protect themselves like institutions, and to build systems that don't break when the world around them does. To understand the collapse and the opportunity inside it, we need to rewind. To understand why 2026 becomes the breaking point, we need to look at the pressure building underneath the world economy. It starts with something simple, something we've lived with for years. Debt. But not just debt. The most aggressive rise in sovereign debt in human history. Nations borrowing faster than they can grow. Budgets running permanent deficits. Interest costs rising faster than tax revenues. And central banks trapped between inflation and insolvency. For decades, the financial world survived on a belief that money was infinite and the consequences were theoretical. 2026 ends that illusion because something changed in the last 3 years. A structural shift, a new reality. High interest rates are no longer temporary. They're the baseline. And that single shift breaks the mathematics of modern economies. Governments can't refinance cheaply. Corporations can't roll over debt effortlessly. Consumers can't borrow like before. Housing, credit, investment, pensions, every part of the system becomes heavier, slower, more fragile. And the fragility compounds. Meanwhile, inflation behaves like a ghost, never fully gone, never fully under control. Prices cool for a moment, then rise again. Supply chains calm down, then snap under geopolitical stress. This isn't cyclical inflation, it's structural inflation, the kind that doesn't go away because the world itself is changing. And then, there's the force no one saw coming, artificial intelligence. AI didn't just enter the economy, it accelerated it, compressed it, bent the rules. Entire industries became faster. Markets became hypersensitive. Information flowed at machine speed. And financial volatility evolved from a human-driven pattern into an algorithmic phenomenon. In the past, a crisis was triggered by a recession, a bubble, a shock. Today, a crisis can be triggered by an algorithm misreading a sentiment spike on social media. One model buys, another model follows, a third model panics. Markets swing violently before any human even notices. This is why 2026 looks different. We're not dealing with one problem. We're dealing with layers of instability stacked on top of one another. High debt, high rates, persistent inflation, AI-driven volatility, geopolitical stress, supply chain reorganization, weak currencies, shrinking middle classes, aging populations, slowing productivity. Each of these alone is manageable. Together, they become combustible. And here's the part most people don't grasp. The financial system doesn't collapse in a single dramatic moment. It collapses slowly, and then all at once. And 2026 is the moment when slow begins turning into all at once. Currencies weaken, markets swing harder, governments struggle to refinance. Consumers feel pressure. Corporations accumulate risk they can no longer hide behind cheap money. The system doesn't fail because of one crisis. It fails because the old rules no longer apply to the new world. And that's why I'm not preparing for a crash. I'm preparing for a transformation, a restructuring of how wealth works, of how safety works, of how individuals must position themselves. To understand the solution and why I'm building my own financial structure, we need to look at the most important idea of all, the collapse of dependency. When a financial system becomes unstable, the worst mistake an individual can make is to stay dependent on it. Dependence is the real collapse, not the markets, not the currencies, not the banks. Dependence is when your income, your savings, your opportunities are controlled by forces you cannot influence. For decades, people believed stability came from institutions, governments, banks, employers, pension funds. But in the new world, stability comes from systems you build yourself. That's why I'm building my own financial structure for 2026. Not because I expect the world to collapse, but because I expect it to change. And change rewards the prepared. So what does a modern personal financial system look like? It's not a bank. It's not a crypto wallet. It's not a portfolio of stocks on an app. It's a framework of autonomy built on 5 pillars. Pillar 1. AI-augmented income. Not relying on a single paycheck. Not relying on one employer. Using AI tools to create multiple streams of value, content, services, automation, consulting, digital products. Machines that work even when you don't. In 2026, the most powerful form of wealth isn't money. It's leverage. Pillar 2. Cash flow assets. Assets that pay you monthly. Rental income, digital royalties, revenue-sharing models, small businesses, dividend-paying stocks. Things that generate money even during volatility. Because in a high-rate world, cash flow isn't optional. It's survival. Pillar 3. Self-controlled liquidity. This means keeping enough liquid reserves outside systems that can freeze, block, or restrict it. A liquidity buffer you own. Not a bank's approval, not a government's permission, not a corporation's algorithm. Pillar 4. Decentralized earning power. Earning across borders, across currencies, across platforms. Selling beyond your local economy. Building income streams that no single country can shut down. Because when nations struggle, globally capable individuals thrive. Pillar 5. Skill-based capital. The most underestimated form of wealth. Your ability to create value on demand, to solve problems, to learn fast, to adapt faster. In a world shaped by AI, the only capital that cannot be inflated, devalued, or taxed away is your ability to think. This is the architecture of the new financial world, a world where individuals act like nations, with their own reserves, their own assets, their own production engines, their own protections. A world where you no longer wait for the system to stabilize, because you built a system that doesn't need to. This is why I'm building my own financial structure in 2026. Not to escape the collapse, but to stay ahead of the transformation. Because the world isn't falling apart, it's reorganizing, and the people who understand that will own the next decade. But there's one more thing, one final idea that ties everything together, the concept that separates those who survive from those who grow. To reach it, we move into the final chapter. Everything we've discussed so far leads to one idea, the concept that defines the next decade of wealth. Systems beat predictions. Predictions tell you where the world might go. Systems protect you no matter where it goes. And that's the mindset individuals must adopt in 2026. A world where volatility isn't a crisis, it's a constant. So what does the new survival plan look like? It's not dramatic, it's not complicated, it's strategic. There are 3 principles, simple but powerful. Principle 1. Build systems, not savings. Savings melt in inflation. Systems generate value. Your goal isn't to store money. It's to build mechanisms that create it, mechanisms supported by technology, automation, and diversified income streams. In a world shaped by AI, leverage becomes the new currency. Principle 2. Think in decades, not days. The people who survive volatility are the ones who don't chase it. Build slow, build steady, build long-term. Invest in assets that don't care about daily noise, energy, infrastructure, cash flow businesses, and the foundations of the AI economy itself. The future belongs to those who can see past the panic of the moment. Principle 3. Protect your autonomy. The system isn't collapsing, it's reorganizing. And in every reorganization, autonomy becomes the highest form of wealth. Your skills, your liquidity, your ability to earn globally, your personal safety nets, your financial architecture. These are the things no government, no corporation, and no algorithm can take from you. This is why I'm building my own financial system in 2026. Not because I'm predicting doom, but because I'm preparing for possibility. A world where nations compete for stability, where currencies shift like tides, where AI reshapes entire industries in months, not years. A world where opportunity belongs to the individuals who built frameworks strong enough to withstand change and flexible enough to grow from it. And here's the quiet truth, the truth most people miss. You don't need a perfect plan to thrive in the new system. You just need a resilient one. A system that earns from multiple directions. A system that moves with technology, not against it. A system that protects you when institutions cannot. Because the future isn't shaped by the people who fear change, but by the people who prepare for it. The world is shifting, the old foundation is cracking. But the next foundation, the one built by individuals, creators, thinkers, builders, is already rising. If this gave you clarity, stay close. We explore these hidden mechanics every week, calmly, clearly, and without noise. Welcome to Financial Room.